Hello and thanks for joining us from our studios in Israel. I'm Aaron Porras, here with ILTV's morning briefing. Tensions in Israel have ratcheted to new heights in the wake of President Trump's decision to withdraw the United States from the JCPOA nuclear deal. Moments before Trump gave his speech, the army reported unusual Iranian activity near military sites in Syria, and mere hours after Trump spoke, a suspected Iranian base near Damascus was pummeled with missiles. At this time, 9 Iranian fighters are believed to have been killed, and Israel is widely believed to be behind the attack. The army has demanded all bomb shelters in northern Israel to be open and ready for an impending Iranian assault. Iran has promised revenge for a similar airstrike in Syria just last month that left at least 7 Iranian pro-regime fighters dead. But with the fate of the nuclear deal suddenly in limbo, this may be the final straw that breaks the camel's back and spirals into an all-out war. In Israel, the anxiety is incredibly palpable. The army has asked citizens in the north to remain calm despite the rising tensions. Schools in the Golan are open as normal. Life goes on, but under a new shadow of fear. In the wake of Trump's decision to unilaterally withdraw from the JCPOA Iranian nuclear deal, the world stands divided like never before. The United States will resume its economic sanctions on Tehran, but the remaining members of the original pact are urging Iran to remain in the deal and hoping to avoid a war that many suspect is now beginning to unfold. Iran's President Hassan Rouhani will now meet with European, Chinese, and Russian leadership to see if the deal can be salvaged. But Rouhani's seemingly diplomatic approach may be an outlier. The head of Iran's Revolutionary Guard Army has actually welcomed Trump's withdrawal, saying that it proved just how untrustworthy American leadership is. The Guard answers directly to Iran's supreme leader. This is the same feeling for many Iranian lawmakers who burned an effigy of the American flag during a parliament meeting shortly after Trump's speech. The words echoing in the room were "Death to America." Many see the collapse of the deal as playing directly into Iran's hands to resume developing a nuclear warhead. This is why Europe's top leaders say they will keep fighting for the deal as a unified front, and why the UN is urging everyone to remain true to the deal. If the deal can be saved, Trump's sanctions approach is unlikely to do much to impact Iran. Prime Minister Netanyahu, who has lobbied for the deal's collapse since the beginning, is likely aware of this as well. Many suspect Israel's true endgame is a war too, one that Netanyahu himself says he'd rather deal with sooner than later. Amidst tensions that couldn't be higher over Iran and Syria, Prime Minister Netanyahu has just left for Moscow to meet with Russian President Vladimir Putin. Netanyahu said that his mission for this upcoming meeting was to ensure ongoing military cooperation in Syria, and that, quote, "Our meetings are always important, and this one is especially so. Given what is happening now in Syria, it's important to ensure the continued security coordination between the Russian army and the IDF," end quote. But many are skeptical at how much Russia is willing to continue to allow. In fact, Russia has repeatedly warned Israel in the past to cease strikes against Iranian and Syrian targets in Syria, strikes like those reported overnight. But Israeli officials, on the other hand, have continuously informed Russia of their vow not to allow Iranian footholds in Syria that could launch against Israel. Well, between the United States pulling out of the JCPOA, suspicious Iranian movements near Damascus being reported, and bomb shelters already opening up, let's hope that this next meeting between Putin and Netanyahu is fruitful. The Israel-Palestine Director for Human Rights Watch, Omar Shakir, has just been given 2 weeks to leave the country. The Israeli Foreign Ministry has revoked his work permit on the grounds that he's a supporter of the boycott, divestment, and sanctions movement. The Interior Ministry argued in a statement that, quote, "It's inconceivable that a boycott activist can receive a permit to remain in Israel so that he can act in every possible way against the state. I will use all means to expel such people from the country," end quote. Shakir is denying the allegations against him, however, saying he has never supported a boycott of Israel during his time at Human Rights Watch, a fact that, oddly enough, was acknowledged in the Interior Ministry's letter. But in May of 2017, Shakir was barred from Bahrain for a FIFA Congress on the grounds that he was identified as a foreign activist and journalist. Shakir told journalists at the time that he was going to the Gulf state to lobby FIFA Congress participants to ban Israel from holding games in the West Bank settlements. Still, the Iraqi-American Shakir still asserts that his expulsion from the country is in efforts to muzzle organizations like his who call out allegations of Israeli abuses. Residents of the EFRAT settlement have just become the first Israeli settlement owners of a security drone. The civilian security team was provided the drone with the help of donations from the International Fellowship of Christians and Jews, and it'll significantly reduce the time it takes to find infiltrators. as the drone was equipped with thermal cameras as well for night vision. Until today, the security team at the EFRAT settlement, which does not have a security fence, would have to simply do the rounds on foot in the dark. This system proved to be vulnerable in December 2016 when a Palestinian terrorist who's never been caught infiltrated the settlement and stabbed a resident. It was after this attack that the settlement's council head, Oded Revivi, began pushing for the drone in the first place. Now that it's here, Revivi said, quote, "We're going to have this drone in our own yard in case we do have any other terrorists who want to come into EFRAT. We will be able to raise the drone into the air, freeze the situation, get a good visual picture, and direct the army and police forces to exactly where the terrorists are hiding," end quote. That's all for now. I'm Aaron Porras, and see you later with our main daily broadcast from Israel at 2 p.m. Eastern Time.